Are live. Welcome, everybody. This is Kriss Bergeron with the Healthy Living Association, and I'm honored today to have Dr. Ralph LaGuardia here with us. Dr. Ralph is going to run us through 3 things that can drastically help your health today or in the next 30 days. These are natural things. And then we're going to answer some of your questions, and we're going to give you a great offer at the end here that you can really take home a lot of Ralph's knowledge with you. So with that, Dr. Ralph, why don't you give us a quick background on who you are and what you do? Thanks for joining us, by the way.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you for having me, Chris. Well, basically, I'm an internist in private practice in Connecticut. I've been in private practice for about 35 years. But I'm triple boarded in internal medicine, bariatrics, which is weight loss and nutrition, and geriatrics, which is the care of the elderly. But my really main focus is integrative medicine. I also do functional orthomolecular type medicine where I combine the best of both worlds. I don't think either one, I don't think alternative medicine, nor do I think traditional medicine have a monopoly on good things, good treatments for patients. And so I like to glean the best of both and combine that into a very powerful, potent model that I use my patients, and it's proved to be very effective. I've done this for about 35 years, and I'm the author of the Bible of Alternative Medicine, which basically I use it as a owner's manual for your body. Just like you look in an owner's manual for your car and you look up something that goes wrong, this book, which I have right here, tells you everything you'll need to know about your body. You have a problem with your ear or your eye, you go to that section, and the first thing I do in each section is teach you the anatomy of it. You have to understand what's going on in each section.
Right.
And then from there, I go on to the pathology, things that could go wrong, and I give you about 15 or 20 ways to treat it. So, if you don't have access to one, you may find the other one. But, now, the market doesn't have a book like that.
Right.
All the books out there are not user-friendly. I wrote it in a really friendly format so a patient can understand everything they need. Right. So if you're sick and you're coming down with something, you're not sure what to do, this is like a Merck manual for yourself. You just go right to of alternative treatments, so you can go to rather than running to your doctor right away.
I really like that, and it comes up often with us here at the Healthy Living Association that so many doctors, specifically MDs, have zero nutrition training. It did not come up in medical school. They didn't take a class on it, and yet this is really the root of so many of our health issues these days, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. That's what I like to stress that that's what functional and orthomolecular medicine is. Basically, what it is replacing the things that your body needs for each organ or for each organ system, the things that it relies upon. For example, the thyroid. If you have a thyroid problem, traditionally doctors give out Synthroid, which is synthetic thyroid. Horrible stuff. I use nature thyroid or armor thyroid. However, I also give my patients the things that the thyroid gland would need to support itself. Tyrosine is the building block, the amino acid, which is part of protein. That's the building block. From there, all the thyroid hormone that's the framework for it, and the iodines are added to that. So I put patients on tyrosine and iodine right away.
Wow.
Because our soils are depleted as well. And I go into that in the book a lot. The first thing you have to do is remineralize your body because we've depleted over the years through this chemical farming where we only put back NPK, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. We're not putting back all the minerals and trace elements. Consequently, probably 90% of the people I see have iodine deficiencies and other minerals and trace element deficiencies that are quite severe. And that's the root of their illness. These illnesses don't come out of anywhere. They don't just appear. They appear because the body's a beautiful machine. It knows how to make everything, but it has to have the resources to do that. It can't produce things out of thin air. And when it doesn't produce the right things or doesn't have the right minerals, then it doesn't have the right enzymes, and then things don't work. And then downstream you have illness and disease. And so the best way to counteract that is not to hit it with more artificial chemicals, but rather to give the body all the tools it needs. So for thyroid, as I was saying, I give tyrosine, I give iodine, and I give selenium. Selenium is key because selenium is required for the enzymes to convert inactive thyroid hormone to thyroid. And many people are selenium deficient. It's also needed for detoxification for the rest of the body. And in the book, I get into that in great detail. I teach you how to do that. I also teach you how to do proper farming methods to grow your own stuff if you wanted to do it. How to remineralize your soil yourself, because that's the best way to do it, and you know you're getting everything you need.
Yeah, I've often wondered, our grandparents and our forefathers, so to speak, never really needed all these supplements and seem to have, in a lot of ways, seem to have better health than we do these days. And what you're saying is really the soil where our food comes from is so depleted in minerals that we're not getting these things naturally, so therefore we have to supplement them?
Exactly. And as far back as 1930, Congress was sounding alarm bells about pesticide use and mineral deficiencies in the soils. And you can imagine since then how bad it's gotten. After World War II, all the munitions companies became pesticide companies and converted to that for their chemicals. And we started dousing the soil with all types of chemicals. And now Monsanto is poisoning the whole planet with Roundup and these GMO foods that are basically designed to have the plant not die in a pool of pesticide. It can still live in a pool of Roundup.
Right.
And that plant is very sickly, producing abnormal proteins from the GMO part, in addition to which the foods look good, but they're nutritionally deficient. I was just reading the other day that apples, for example, you have to eat 30 apples to get the amount of nutrition you got in one apple in 1980. 30 apples.
Wow.
And that's across the board. For all fruits and vegetables are all progressively being depleted. And in addition to which, we're being exposed to massive amounts of toxins in the environment. The body has to decompose and to neutralize and get rid of. That's part of the obesity problem because it's storing into fat. And so in the book, I'll teach you a lot about how to remineralize your body. I use a couple of things, and I use there's several ways to do it. In fact, that's the theme of the book for the most part. I don't give one way to do anything.
Right.
I give you several options, that'll match either your budget or so in the book, I'll teach you. For example, to remineralize yourself, I use some stuff called Quinton's marine plasma, which is fabulous stuff. It's been used for over 100 years in France and in Europe. And it's made from these vortexes in the sea that are just magnificent. This scientist, Rene Quinton, didn't invent this, but discovered this in the 1800s. He was both a marine biologist and a physician. And he realized that they had these plankton blooms in the ocean where it was actually vortexes, like a tornado of plankton.
Right.
And they would swirl, and it was an ingenious idea. They would swirl to do this, and at the bottom of the ocean, it would be maybe 100 yards wide. At the top of the ocean, it would be several miles wide. And what happens is that swirling would bring up nutrients from the ocean floor. And then zooplankton and bacterial plankton would go into it. And then everything from krill to whales would come in and feed on this nutrient-rich solution.
Right.
Well, Rene Quinton, realizing that soils were depleted and people were suffering from a lot of disease only from mineral deficiencies, because no vitamin works without minerals, and because the minerals activate the enzymes, which activates the vitamins. And so you can take all the vitamins in the world you want, if you don't have the proper minerals and trace elements, nothing works. And so he started clinics all over Europe, and he was curing all kinds of disease with that. And that company exists to this day. And that's very simple. You just take a vial of that every day. And that provides you with all the minerals and trace elements you would need. But there's other stuff. There's stuff called supreme fulvic I use a lot, which is made similar. It's made from ancient seabed. And same thing, it has all the minerals and trace elements in it. But it also has this very interesting thing called fulvic acid, F-U-L-V-I-C, fulvic.
Fulvic.
And basically what that is just amazing stuff. It's what, in the soil, when it's inorganic minerals, you can't eat those. You only eat organic minerals. You can't suck on a rock and get any nutrition from it. And so,
I've tried.
All right, so don't try that at home. Basically, it has to be converted to organic. What that means, how that is done is in the soil by microbial life, bacteria and fungi in the soil. That's what these pesticides are killing. They're killing all the life in the soil.
Right.
So it's dead, lifeless soil. But that soil is what converts it, and it creates a deal with the plant. It connects to the plant roots, and then it breaks down minerals and serves them to the plant and coats them in fulvic acid.
Right.
And then the plant, it gets sugar.
Right.
And so it's a symbiotic relationship. They live there, and it's beautiful. Nature doesn't waste anything.
Right.
But that fulvic acid, when you ingest that with the plant food, raw plants, and you ate it that way, plants that have grown organically in the right soil, that fulvic acid opens up the cells and allows all the nutrients to enter the cell. What a beautiful system.
Wow.
And so you can remineralize yourself by using that with the fulvic acid. It's a fabulous way to do it.
And you're actually absorbing it instead of just passing it then as well, too.
Right. What it does is it makes the cell wall more permeable. It opens it up.
Right.
And some nutrients can enter. Because if they're not entering the cell, they're useless to you. You have to get them inside the cell where they can do their work. And so, in the book, I get in great detail into that. I also talk about other minerals you need. Zinc, for example, controls 200 enzymes in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Magnesium, 350 enzymes require magnesium. Magnesium is called the spark of life for that reason.
Right.
And so just if you replete your body with zinc and magnesium, and I tell you different ways to do that, that alone would provide over 500 enzyme systems. Will give them what it needs.
And what would be kind of the typical, let's say you're in your 60s and you've eaten the typical American diet your entire life, and you maybe a little overweight and everything, and if you started this remineralization process, and let's say you did it for 30 days, what would you feel after that 30 days? What would be different?
Immediately, well, you have to go on the right combination of things. I also teach you about vitamins in the book.
Right.
People take vitamins wrong. Just unbelievable how poorly they do with that.
Yeah.
I have patients come in constantly and tell me, Doc, I know everything about vitamins. I've been taking them for 30 years. And unfortunately, they've been taking them wrong for 30 years and not absorbing them.
Right.
Vitamins come in two basic types, fat-soluble and water-soluble. Soluble means what they dissolve in.
Right.
All vitamins dissolve in fat. A, D, E, K, multivitamins. The only ones that dissolve in water are B complex, which is all the Bs, and vitamin C. So you can take those on an empty stomach. If you don't take the others with fat, they go right through you. So you might as well not take them. People typically take them at bedtime with some water or in the morning with orange juice, and they're not absorbing them at all. So the first thing I do is give them the minerals and then the right vitamins. And in a short time, they start feeling more energy. Their sex drive goes up. Their interest in life goes up. Everything goes up because they're more awake. They're more engaged. They're not drowning. The body's not fighting to produce things that it can't make without the proper tools. And so iodine's another key one, and selenium that I give with all of that because it helps. Iodine's an amazing thing. It helps detoxify the body. It kills viruses, fungi, bacteria, in addition to which every cell in the body requires iodine. And so our iodine is really depleted in the soils and everywhere. That's why Congress many years ago iodized salt. That was an attempt to...
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah. It did that in 1910 or 1920 because of goiter. People were getting thick neck goiter from lack of iodine.
No kidding.
But the problem is now everyone's on low salt diets.
Well, yeah, and I was just going to say they're on low fat diets too. So if you need to consume fat with your vitamins, how do you do it? You just have a piece of bacon and your pills, or? No.
I use olive oil.
Okay.
And oil at room temperature is a liquid fat, and so olive oil is a great way to do it. And most people, there's enough fat in your dinner to take it with dinner. That usually you get.
Okay.
Yes. But that's a good way to do it. But you're absolutely right. Fats, used to be the enemy.
Yeah.
For 40 years, America's been on a low-fat diet, and they're more obese than they ever were. Because fat doesn't make you fat. Carbohydrates make you fat.
I heard somebody say the other day that the only problem with fat is that it has the word fat in it.
Right. That's exactly right. Saturated fats they're finding now are really good for you. All the butter and stuff that they were telling us not to eat for years, and the cream and stuff, they realize your body really needs to be healthy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So, it's all fascinating stuff. And, I wrote it to empower patients. So a patient can look at this and say, oh, man, I'm not sure what to do, and turn to each chapter. And then learn a little bit about background, just a few pages, some anatomical drawing.
Right.
So I find if you're empowered to understand what's going on, it'll be much easier for you to do it.
Great.
It'll make more sense to you.
Great.
So I made a go-to book for them for that reason.
And I have to say that I have the book, and I just gave it to my mom, and she's 71 now, and she's enjoying it very much. And she has a lot of problems. This seems to be a problem with a lot of folks now. She has a lot of sinus infections and things like this that goes to the urgent care, goes to the medical clinic, and immediately the first thing they give her is antibiotics.
Right.
So she has probably been through, I don't know, I would say dozens and dozens of courses of antibiotics in the last, probably just the last 5 years. I mean, she probably has 5 or 6 prescriptions a year. So that is really kind of destroying the natural biology of her system.
Oh, we're realizing now that the microbiome, the bacteria in your gut, is so crucially important to health. And the worst thing you could possibly do is give an antibiotic. I mean, don't get me wrong, I use antibiotics a lot in my practice because I have to.
Right.
People are too sick and I've got to bring them back.
Sure, yeah.
But given the choice, I'm sure in future years, they're going to look back and think we're primitive using these antibiotics right now. The best way is to boost your immune system.
Exactly.
My whole theory of things is not just offense. I can hate with antibiotics all day. I'd rather build you up from the inside and build up your defenses. And there's a thing called the antioxidant cascade. What that is, a guy named Les Packard at the University of California developed it. He uses alpha lipoic acid at the top, and I go into this in the book a lot. That's both fat and water soluble. Okay. And then on one arm, on the water soluble side, is glutathione and vitamin C. They regenerate each other. And on the fat soluble side, there is vitamin E and CoQ10. They regenerate each other. Yeah. And alpha lipoic acid regenerates both of them. So you can't take glutathione because your body destroys it right away. So you have to use everything else. But as a little aside, selenium is very important in producing glutathione-dependent systems for detoxification. And that supercharges your immune system. But the other thing is that most people who have that have food allergies. And they have leaky gut. The problem with that starts in the gut. And so once again, it goes back to doctors are doing the exact wrong thing. They're attacking, the antibiotics are attacking the gut and destroying the good bacteria in there that are 80% of your immune system is there.
Right.
And so what I do is teach you ways to seal the gut, and so there's not big pieces of protein going in. And the only way to do that, it looks like a shag carpet. There's it's called microvilli coming up, and that just increases the surface area immensely in the small intestine. Right. And that's coated with bacteria, good bacteria, probiotic bacteria. And that bacteria breaks down food and then passes it in small pieces that are digestible to the microvilli and absorbs into your liver through your intestines, and your body processes it. Now, if you're using antibiotics or eating a lot of GMO foods or exposed to a lot of pesticides, that damages the lining to the gut, damages the microbiome, the bacteria there, and causes leaky gut because the cells separate. And then big pieces of protein go in, your body attacks that, and you get autoimmune diseases, you get all of a sudden people in their 50s and 60s are getting allergies. Why are they developing allergies all of a sudden? They're developing that because it all starts in the gut. And in the book I teach you all about that, how to fix that and how to repair yourself.
It's fascinating. You touched on something at the beginning, or wanted to touch something on here about inflammation. Inflammation is kind of a big theme these days. There really seems to be the source of a lot of disease and problems, and you have some ways to cool down inflammation. Why don't you run through those for us? Yeah.
Well, just for example, for our arthritis, for example, that's all inflammatory. Most disease is starts with inflammation.
Right.
So if you have to, first of all, as I was speaking to earlier, you have to get the right probiotics in there. It starts with the microbiome.
Right.
You have to build the gut. So you have to take a strong probiotic formula. And if you're doing that, probiotic just means good bacteria. People used to use acidophilus was the big one in yogurt. Yeah. There's about 8 or 10 bifidobacterium. Other ones that are super important that you use. And I use various means to rebuild that in your gut, but you have to feed them. They're alive. So you have to give them a prebiotic. You have to give them fermented foods are really good for you.
Okay.
I mean, every society in the world uses fermented foods except us. The American diet is just so terrible.
Yeah.
They used to use it in the old days because of preserved foods, but in addition to preserving foods, it opened up the nutritional content of them. It was loaded with enzymes, and it was loaded with minerals, and it removed these stuff called anti-nutrients, and so your body could absorb things with it, and it was full of probiotics, and it supported gut health. It was perfect. So the first thing you do for inflammation is starts in the gut. You have to support the gut health. Okay. Once you do that, and once you seal the gut, then you go on to treat it different ways. And one of the first things I do is remineralization of your body. And so provide your body with all the tools it needs. As I was speaking to earlier, all the minerals and trace elements.
Right.
So once you provide that in, right away that lowers inflammation to a certain degree. And I've done this in my practice for years. I check with CRP, and you can see it, C-reactive protein. You'll see that go down as the inflammation goes down. It's a good way to monitor it, you know. But in addition, once the symptoms go down, people get better. For example, if they have arthritic problems, one of the things I encourage them to do is first use things that will support the joint and bone health. And the ways to do that are bone broth, for example. You know, in the old days, everyone would, use every part of a meal, a chicken or a turkey carcass. They wouldn't throw it away. You know, the bones from a dinner, they would throw that into a soup with some celery and some carrots and some onions. Right. You know, and from that, people were incredibly healthy because that broke down and got all the minerals out of the bone, out of the bone marrow, into a broth that was super healthy for them. Right. There was a dentist named Weston Kriss in the 1930s. He went around the world. He was fascinated by the fact that Americans had small, crowded mouths with overbites and bad teeth. And he thought, how could this be? It's genetic, you know? Yeah. What's causing this? He went around the world and he was amazed. He went to Africa, Asia, South Pacific, everywhere, South America, and he found the same thing everywhere. Big, broad smiles, no crowded teeth, and very little tooth decay. Yeah. And he said, then these people moved to the United States, and what happens to them? You know, all of a sudden their faces change. Yeah. And he wrote a fascinating book. There's still the Weston Price Society where they look into that, but it's all nutritional. What he realized was all these societies had fermented foods. They weren't eating processed foods. They were eating foods high in minerals and trace elements. And what else did they have? They had hardly any mental illness. They had all these other these plagues of modern mankind: arthritis, diabetes, hypertension. Had none of it. Wow! All from their diets. You know, and so they're right there. But once again, as you alluded to earlier, mainstream medicine ignores that. They've gone to pharmacological. They've gone the other way, where they say, okay, synthetically, how can we fix this with a chemical? And you don't need to fix it with a chemical. You need just to provide the body with the nutrients. So for the arthritis thing, for example, I want to build collagen. Collagen is what most connective tissue is made of. Kind of a cool thing. It's a triple helix, not like a double helix of DNA. It's a kind of ponytail braided, and that's why it's so strong to make bone and cartilage and stuff. And collagen needs vitamin C. That's one of the key things for it. Okay. There's a couple amino acids, proline, and other ones it needs as well. And so if you take high-dose vitamin C, which gets back to the orthomolecular part, that helps build collagen, build strong bones, strong teeth, along with the calcium and stuff you need. But even with osteoporosis, we were treating women for years, and it was a paradox. We were giving middle-aged women tons of calcium and vitamin D, and they still had the osteoporosis, but what did they get? Hardening of the arteries. So the calcium was going into their arteries, but not their bones. And for years, everyone was perplexed by that. It was a big paradox. What could possibly be going on? And about 5 years ago, they discovered it was vitamin K2. K2 is one of the subvitamins under vitamin K, and not only is that's required to have calcium enter a bone, it also moves it from arteries. So you're not only building bone, you're cleaning out your arteries, getting rid of the hardening of the arteries, the atherosclerosis. Right. And so all my patients who have osteoporosis or osteopenia, the stage before osteoporosis, I give them vitamin K2, I give them vitamin C, vitamin D3, not D2, and once again, take it with fat. K2 and D3 have to be taken with fat because they're fat soluble. Right. And calcium. And I don't put them on all these meds for osteoporosis, and 2 years later they go back for their bone scans, and they can't believe it. Their bone mass is up 10%. And they haven't been on any medications other than my nutritional stuff. Right. The other trick I use is boron. Boron. Is remember 20 mule team borax? Yeah, that's boron. That's one in the Death Valley. There's a huge deposit of boron. There's only two in the world. One in Turkey, one in Death Valley, and it's almost pure boron. Boron. What they found is people who have in areas, for example, Jamaica has very poor soils and is very boron deficient. Jamaica has about a 73% rate of arthritis. The country's riddled with arthritis, and as you get older in Jamaica, everyone's limps and has problems because they're boron deficient. But even orthopedic surgeons know in areas where people with high boron, they can't even saw through the bones. Their bones are rock hard. Wow. So I give boron 3 milligrams with vitamin K2 and calcium and D3, and their bones get built really fast and really strong because you're building them from the inside. You're doing it the right way, not hitting it with a synthetic chemical. Right. So that's that's what I do first for it. And then to treat the inflammation itself, I also use nutraceuticals.
Okay.
I use things like
What was that? You broke up right there when you said that one.
you do stuff like MSM.
MSM. Yes. Okay.
MSM, yeah. And what that buzz does basically, it contributes sulfa groups. Sulfa is, and people will always worry about sulfur. You can't be allergic to sulfur; it's a mineral. You can only be allergic to sulfites, which have proteins attached to them. No one's allergic to iodine or sulfur or selenium. You can't be. It's a mineral. Your body needs it.
Right.
And people are always confused with that. But anyway, if you provide sulfur, sulfur is essential for joint health and bone health because it helps make cartilage, it helps make bone.
Okay.
The amino acids that are involved in that require sulfur. So I give them MSM, which works really good, rather than giving them Celebrex or Motrin or those other things that cause GI bleeding, cause renal failure, cause all kinds of problems, and are super expensive. These have no side effects, and they build it nutritionally. It helps. MSM helps markedly decrease inflammation, improve joint stiffness, swelling, things like that.
Okay.
There's another SAMe is another one. That's acetylmethionate. Basically, they were using that for depression, and they realized it also same thing. It donated sulfur groups and it lowered inflammation. In the book, I tell you about all of them. I give them the proper dosing to take and everything, so it's right there. It's very cookbook for you.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Go right down and find the things you need.
That's great.
Yeah. Fish oil is another one. Omega-3 fatty acids are essential to decrease inflammation. What's happening now is our bodies, we used to have a very high omega-3 intake and a very low omega-6 intake.
Right.
That balance has been flipped. And now it's high omega-6, which is pro-inflammatory, and low omega-3, which is anti-inflammatory. So if you put people on fish oil, and I try to get a good brand that's low in mercury, or I use prescription strength sometimes, a lot too, because it's pharmaceutical grade. But either way, that you put it on for other reasons to lower triglycerides or different things, you realize they go, Doc, my joints feel a lot better because it squelches the heat in the joint, the inflammation is cooled down by fish oil. So that works very good for stuff like that. Another trick I do if you have a really bad joint, like a bad knee or ankle or something, I use castor oil. Castor oil, not drinking it, applying it topically. Castor oil is similar to fish oil. However, it's a very small molecule, so it's able to penetrate the skin where fish oil cannot penetrate the skin. So what I have patients do is take, and they can't believe this when it works, and it works so well. You take a piece of flannel cloth, you soak it in castor oil, say your knee is bothering you. You put it over your knee and you put a heating pad over that for an hour.
Okay.
Every night.
Wow.
And the heat opens up the skin, and the castor oil goes in, and it's amazing how fast it works. But then what I tell them to do is take that same piece of flannel cloth, put it in a Ziploc bag in the refrigerator so it doesn't get rancid. Take it out the next day and repeat it. That works really good for. I had surgery on my left hand because of a contraction there, and then I said, "Oh, I'm not doing it again." I went to my right hand, used the castor oil, took it right away.
Wow.
Surgery was fabulous. And and it's so simple. People go, "Really?" I go, "Just try it." But another one that works great to lower inflammation is Epsom salt. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate, and soaking an Epsom salt bath it provides magnesium, which soothes muscles and nerves and relaxes everything, lowers your blood pressure.
Right.
And the sulfur helps the joints. But we have to be careful. You have to stay in there for a half hour, and you have to use the hottest water you can. You're a male, I always advise you to lower your testicles in slowly. It's rather painful. But once you're in, you have to stay in a half hour. That's how long it takes to get the full transdermal magnesium effect. Okay. Transdermal means pressing the skin.
Okay.
But when you go to get out, so be careful because your legs will be rubbery because it's so relaxed. But Epsom salt works fabulous, and it also provides your body with the magnesium it needs.
Wow.
So there's lots of ways like that. DMSO is another one. Dimethyl sulfoxide. It's actually banned in Connecticut except for animals, but in certain states it's allowed. Other ones it's not.
Why is it banned?
There's nothing wrong with it. It's a byproduct of woodworking. They discovered that it's an amazing solvent. It's amazing anti-inflammatory. It works it crushes the skin so fast when you put it on your arm or anywhere in your body, you'll taste it in your mouth in about 10 seconds.
Wow.
That's how fast it crushes your skin. But that works really well for joint injuries because it fights inflammation. Same way. So there's all kinds of products in there that I talk about. Turmeric, another one.
Right. That's one I like a lot. Yeah.
Essential oils, lavender, German chamomile, everlasting oil, peppermint. Those all work very well for inflammation. In the book, I teach you how to use carrier oils to carry those essential oils across your skin. Okay. You take like 4 drops of the essential oil, you mix it in coconut oil,
Right.
Or almond oil or sesame or hazelnut. And those are carriers. They send it across the skin faster. They don't dilute the effect of it. And so you don't have to worry about that. But a lot of times people use the essential oils wrong. They'll put peppermint oil directly on their skin, and it's irritating. Sometimes it burns and you get it.
Yeah, very. Yes. Very.
But if you put them in a carrier oil, it's no problem at all. So I go into that in a lot of detail. They give you sources of how to do that. Also, astaxanthin's a great anti-inflammatory. Astaxanthin is 6,000 times more powerful than vitamin C as an as an antioxidant. And that's how it works, the anti-inflammatory effect by the antioxidant. Astaxanthin is what makes lobster and shrimp red, salmon. It gives them that red color.
Okay.
That's why you never eat farm salmon, because it's fake. They color it.
Yeah.
They don't eat it in the food chain. It's full of toxins, horrible stuff for you. But natural things like astaxanthin helps very well to lower inflammation and things like that. Resveratrol is another one. Resveratrol is made from red. It's in red wine, because red wine, as opposed to white wine, is made with the skin of the grape.
Right.
And resveratrol is in the skin. Mulberries, my favorite all-time fruit, has a lot of resveratrol as well. That's a strong anti-inflammatory.
Okay.
So those things that are also good for you. Pectin's another good one, which is in citrus fruit. But in New England here, a lot of my old-time Yankee farmers would come in, and they've taught me this one over the years, that golden raisins and gin. They love this one. You take a cupful of golden raisins, you soak them in gin, you put cheesecloth over, you leave it for like 2 weeks until the gin evaporates and soaks into the raisins, and then you eat the raisins.
Okay.
So I don't know which is working better, the gin or the raisins, but it does work great for inflammation.
Wow. So you get a little buzz on and your pain goes.
Right.
Well, you've covered a lot of material. I feel like we've covered the inflammation, and that really going to ease a lot of the pain that people feel. Give us just a couple more things from the book, and then we'll send people a link on how to get it for themselves. This is really, like I said, it's like a health manual, and you said it's like a user's manual for the body, and that's exactly how I use it. But give us just a couple more little tidbits that will help people in there.
Well, I teach you in the book, I try to stress the fact that I want you to be your body's ally.
Right.
That's why the book is kind of an owner's manual for the human body. It teaches you how to augment, how to help each system in the body. And there's little things you can do that people make mistakes about all the time. For example, fever. Fever is, your body, the organisms, the microorganisms that infect us, the bacteria, the fungi, the viruses, only can do so because they live at the same body temperature we do, or close to that.
Uh-huh.
If a bacteria that lived at 88 degrees couldn't infect us because it won't survive us.
Right.
So it has to live around 98.6, give or take a degree. Yeah. And so when we get infected, your body jacks up its temperature to kill them off.
Oh.
That's the purpose of it. Your body doesn't waste anything. The fever isn't there just by chance.
Right.
It's a beautiful organism. So I teach you to work with it. Let that fever burn.
Okay.
All you're doing is taking Tylenol or lowering that temperature. All you're doing is prolonging your illness, and you're working against your body.
Right. Right.
I try to teach you to work with your body. Give it the tools it needs. Don't do the things that are going to hamper it. Do the things that will help it. That's why I like this as defense. I can hit with antibiotics all day with offense. I'd rather build up the defense so your body is strong.
Yeah.
Just like a strong plant doesn't get infected.
Right.
I have a permaculture orchard where I don't use any sprays, all organic. I have no problems. I don't have any plants that are sick and dying with anything.
Really?
I don't spray anything because I build the soil up. The soil is where they get their nutrition. And a strong plant, just like a strong human. That's why, for example, if there's a flu going through an area, wipes out, everyone doesn't get the flu. Why not? Because some people's immune systems are supercharged.
Right. And
they're able to fight it off. And so that's the same reason why you don't get sick. I mean, I'm exposed to everything. I haven't had a flu shot in 25 years. I don't get the flu.
Really?
I'm exposed all day, every day.
Right.
What do? I take vitamin D. Vitamin D3 is 8 to 10 times more effective than a flu shot with none of the toxicity.
Wow.
And it builds up the rest of the body.
Wow.
And so the book is jam-packed full of pearls like that teach you the things you'll need to know to support your body and to keep it healthy and strong rather than hitting it with chemicals to try to cure it.
Right. Okay. That's great. Maybe Ralph, if you would just tell us, what do you take every day as far as supplements? Just not for if you're sniffly or anything like that, but just what is your routine?
Yeah, my routine is complex.
I bet it is.
Morning, I take B complex. I take 1,000 milligrams of time-release vitamin C, and I take fish oil in the morning.
Okay.
Those are the first three things I take when I wake up.
Okay.
Then, later on when we get to the office, with each meal I try to add supplements just to try to augment to make it more nutrient dense.
Yeah.
So during the day, when I eat breakfast, I'll have some BSL number 3, it's called. It's a really strong probiotic. It's the strongest one in the world. It's 500 billion per capsule.
Holy
I
cow.
take that along with some vegetables. I try to eat something fermented then.
What do you eat fermented, by the way? What's your fermented choice?
Oh, sauerkraut, pickles, things like that.
Got it.
I like kimchi, which is a quite taste. It's a Korean. I also drink a lot of kefir.
Okay.
Kefir, although it's really hard to find full fat kefir. They only have the low fat one. I like the regular full fat one, but that's what you can get. Anyway, and then during the day I take digestive enzymes and I take stuff to support my thyroid. Even though I don't have thyroid problems, I just think the thyroid's key for health. Yeah. So I take iodine. I take it in the form of nascent iodine. It's liquid drops. Okay. And I take digestive enzymes with each meal just to make sure I'm getting digesting food properly. Okay. And then later on in the day, I take some more fish oil. I take selenium. I take zinc. These are all my evening meal. Okay. And I take some coconut oil. And what's the fourth thing I take? Oh, I take MSM. And then also in the morning, I'm sorry, I left out. In the morning, I either take Supreme Folate or I take Quinton's Marine Plasma, one or the other, whatever I have available. Okay. I take in the morning every day. And then at bedtime, I take melatonin with zinc and more vitamin C. Wow. That's my regimen, yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't been sick I haven't even had a cold in over a decade. And I'm exposed to everything.
That is crazy. And that it seems like a lot to an outsider, like, well, you're taking pills every 4 hours, but if it keeps you from getting sick and you keep working and that kind of thing, it's worth it.
Yeah, I see 40 to 45 patients a day. My day is super busy. I'm running from 8 in the morning till 5 at night. Wow. Right through. And exposed to very ill people. Yeah. And like I said, I don't get anything comes around. And I'm so into it. I've been doing it for so long that it just becomes part of my lifestyle. Right. But the key part there is the mineral part. I will take once a week. I take vitamin D3 as well. That's 50,000. So I don't have to take that every day. Okay. But if I feel something coming on, I'll adjust just to boost my immune system. Invariably, it's gone in a few hours. Okay. So it's good. But you asked me about the book. The book is really divided into several sections. I'll show you. In the beginning, I teach you health essentials. That's the first chapter. It's called Basics You Need to Know. It's all little things on the soil and essential health principles, stuff about fever I was talking about earlier. Yep. Vitamins, seed oils, and how to take them, fermented foods and why they're good for you. Then I get into essential tools, things I use. You can use for various illnesses. Baking soda. DMSO, Epsom salt, honey. Honey is really great. Yep. It's interesting because I have these patients come in from the wound clinics and they have these non-healing wounds, and the wound doctors give them antibiotics and all kinds of $1,000 salves to use. Yeah. I said, look, they can't afford it, but anyway. But I said, look, don't do it. Just cover this with honey. I covered it with honey and double dressing, and it heals right up. And they go back to the guys, well, I told you. And they go, no, Dr. LaGuardia gave me honey. I'm sure those guys hate my guts. Honey was used for 1,000 years. You could eat 1,000-year-old honey. It never goes bad. And the reason it doesn't because nothing can grow in it. Really? Honey never spoils. And you don't have to refrigerate it for that reason. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, nothing grows in it. It kills them all. And so what it does is it seals the wound and keeps it moisturized, and it releases hydrogen peroxide, believe it or not, to kill bacteria and stuff in there as well. Wow. And so it's fabulous. And there's different types of honey. Manuka honey from New Zealand is the most potent. Yeah. But any local honey will work. you know. And so little tricks like that, I try to teach them in there. But and then I get into various things to use iodine, different things. But I also get into in the third section is what's your problem. That's a head to toe kind of a manual that you go look up stuff that you're having problems with. You have a fever, you have a cough, you have an ear infection, what to do to get rid of that.
Yep.
And these are not things that I'm just making a list of things. These are things I've used over the years.
Right.
I mean, in 30 years of practice, I realized what is bogus and what's not.
Right.
These are the things I've gleaned from all my experience and my endless reading on alternative medicine, and these are things I've used in the trenches. So this is not a theoretical book. This is a practical book. That's why I call it an owner's manual for your body. You can find everything you need, just like you would look up an owner's manual in your car if you weren't sure.
Right.
And at the end, I have just how to make your own medicine chest for alternative medicine, so you can have all the tools you'll need at home. And I give a long bibliography if you're interested in any subject to do further reading.
Right. That is fantastic. Well, I can't recommend this book enough. Like I said, I'm giving it to family members and recommending it to all my friends. So many people have food allergies now and poor immune systems like we talked about, and this is really a book that can change everything. I want to thank you for your time, Dr. Ralph. This video will be up on the website. I'm sorry, our Facebook page. And people will probably ask some questions over time, and we may have you come back on and answer some of those. But we'd like to do this again. It's been fascinating, and I got to tell you, it's really refreshing to find somebody who understands Western medicine and sort of the natural side, because it really feels like there's a dividing line there that we need to get rid of. It all needs to come together, in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, we can't go on the way we're going. If you're going to bankrupt the country, you just can't do it.
Yeah.
It's not working. And,
Right.
Things are getting worse, not better. I don't know anyone whose family is healthier than they used to be.
No.
Everyone's got, besides one out of 6 U.S. adults are on psychotropics alone. Just the psychological stuff improved, not to mention the physical degeneration.
Right. Yeah, it's really scary. Well, thank you again, Dr. Ralph. This will be on our Facebook page, and we will do this again. We'll get some more questions from the website, and we'll have you back. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good night, Chris.